Assalamu alaikum, everyone. On behalf of Oxford University Press, I welcome you all to the inauguration of the 4th Islamabad Literature Festival 2016. I will now request the following people to come onto the stage. Ameena, Saiyid. Asif, Farrukhi. Her Excellency Martin Dorrance, His Excellency Thomas Drew, Miss Hina Rabbani Khar, Masood Ashar Sahab, and Dr. Saiyid. I would like to invite Ameena Saiyid, Managing Director, Oxford University Press, and Founder Director of Karachi and Islamabad Literature Festivals, to come and present her welcome address.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum. His Excellency Thomas Drew, British High Commissioner to Islamabad, Ms. Hina Rabbani Khar, former Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Her Excellency Martin Dorrance, French Ambassador to Pakistan, Asif Farrukhi, Mr. Masood Ashar, Dr. Saiyid, delegates from India, the US, France, and of course from all over Pakistan, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the 4th Islamabad Literature Festival. We were here last year and the year before, though as they say, you can never visit the same place twice. Each time it's a different story. By the very act of coming back, you wipe out what you saw before or what came before. Yet there are some things that don't change. Since the last Islamabad Literature Festival, we lost some great writers who were here with us last year, and their memory lives on with us. Intizar Hussain, a jewel of a writer and the pride of Pakistani literature, is no longer with us. Intizar Hussain Sahab has attended every single Islamabad Literature Festival, so it's especially painful that he is not here with us today. This year, in his honor, we at Oxford University Press have published a new volume of his fiction, essays, and drama called Story is a Vagabond, translated into English and edited by Frank Stewart, Alok Bhalla, Asif Farrukhi, and Nishad Zaidi. Their work is a testimony of their love and respect for Intizar Hussain Saab and their devotion to literature of quality that we at the Islamabad Literature Festival seek to promote. In the last year, very sadly, we also lost Jamiluddin Ali, Abdullah Hussain, Nasreen Anjum Bhatti, and Fatma Suraya Bajia. Please may I request you to observe a minute's silence for these wonderful writers whom we have lost in the past year. The Islamabad Literature Festival gives us an opportunity to learn about and come across new authors and books, discover new ideas, and respond to them if we so choose. I am delighted that others are also now organizing literature festivals in Pakistan, and the idea has caught on and captured the imagination of so many people. As I had said earlier, this festival is open source, and anyone can organize one and take ideas from it. I hope such festivals multiply and are held in towns and cities across Pakistan. My message to readers and aspiring writers remained what Toni Morrison, the renowned American writer, had said in answer to a question about her ultimate inspiration. If there's a book that you want to read, but it has not been written yet, then you must write it. So far, we have had 7 Karachi Literature Festivals, and this is the 4th Islamabad Literature Festival. An array of literary, artistic, intellectual, scholarly, and musical talent from all over Pakistan and abroad will be here to stimulate and inspire us. So welcome to this celebration of literature, creativity, and culture. These are perhaps not the most peaceful of times here, but our holding of such festivals is both an act of defiance and an act of optimism. At times such as this, we need our imagination more than ever. Let us remember that a fairy tale is more than true because it tells us, not because it tells us that dragons exist, but because it tells us that they can be beaten. I am delighted that the British High Commission is able to support the Islamabad Literature Festival. The British High Commission and the British Council have been real partners and supporters to both our festivals over the last many years. They recognize the value of culture and art and the unique role that such festivals play in Pakistan, and especially in the capital. Oxford University Press plays a huge role in Pakistan by organizing these festivals and publishing some of the most important academic, educational, and reference books about and relevant to Pakistan. I know that His Excellency Thomas Drew, the new British High Commissioner, is very excited about the Islamabad Literature Festival. Thomas has served in Pakistan before and knows about the rich cultural life of Pakistan. He is determined that the British High Commission, working with the British Council, will play a larger role in supporting important events such as this and hosting cultural and artistic events at his residence. We are particularly pleased about the opening of the British Council in libraries in Karachi and Lahore. These will create more space for art and culture and debate. With their national digital forums, and they will give access to a forum for Pakistani and the best of UK talent. I'm very grateful to Her Excellency Martin Dorrance, the Ambassador of the Republic of France, for bringing Christophe Jaffalot, the well-known French academic and writer, to the Islamabad Literature Festival. I'm sure that you will enjoy the session of Dr. Christophe Jaffalot during the festival. I'd like to thank our partners, the USAID-funded Pakistan Reading Project, Stylo, Awaz, Gets Farmer, Tapal, the World Bank Group, Islamabad College of Arts and Science, the British High Commission, Cinepax, the French Embassy, and Art Now. I would especially like to thank Dr. Fawzia Saiyid for making this wonderful event, this venue available for us, the Lok Virsa. I hope that you will enjoy this venue, and there's a lovely museum inside, and it is really a reflection of Pakistani art and culture. Thank you very much, Dr. Fawzia Saiyid, for generously allowing us to use this beautiful venue. I'd also like to thank Kareem for providing transport to our speakers. A big thank you to the Oxford University Press team, Rahila Bakai, Fayyaz Raja, Zahra Naseem Haq, Muniza Ali, Anika Khokar, Sumair Qureshi, Zohra Amir Khan, Sohail Bhatti, Wasif Javed, Faizan Khan, Ejaz Gulzar, Hasib Ahmad, Asif Ali, Malik Bilal Haider, Sarfaraz Khan, Javed Azam, Tuba Malik, Fariha Mashroof, Usman Abid, Sadia Naeem, and Anna Mohiuddin. Thank you very much for your collaborative efforts and your wonderful efforts in organizing this festival. A very warm welcome to our distinguished guests from India who are here today. Thank you so much for coming to Pakistan to join us today. Again, a warm welcome to our British authors and to our author from France. And of course, our writers and poets and authors from all over Pakistan. And finally, I'd like to thank our young volunteers for being with us today. Thank you. Bahut shukriya. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Ameena. Asif Farrukhi, founder of Karachi and Islamabad Literature Festivals, will now come and say a few words.
Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies and dignitaries, writers, readers, eminent poets, critics, fiction writers, scholars who are all present here, and my partner in crime, Miss Ameena Saiyid. Although this one is completely a thriller. Khawateen o Hazrat, Assalamu alaikum. As we gather here to mark the inauguration of the 4th edition of the Islamabad Literature Festival, this has now become a very important and interesting marker in the city's vibrant cultural life. Just now, Ameena was talking about how Karachi has had 7 different literature festivals, and the word 7 reminds us of the 7 questions, the 7 journeys, the 7 seas, and 7 stories. And this idea of the 7 seas and 7 journeys also comes to us from the mystic poet Fariduddin Attar's poem Mantiq ut-Tayr, the Conference of the Birds. So the tale comes to us from reading and from books. This is the essential art that we want to preserve, nourish and sustain in our country, which has become increasingly focused as an excess of violence and social problems, but not with enough reference to the cultural opportunities which a country like Pakistan provides for writers, readers and bookmakers. So it is this importance, this land of opportunity that we want to talk about. Ameena Sayyid and I started talking about putting together a celebration of books and readers some 7 or 8 years back, and we realized that our efforts will not be in vain when the lead, and we got an answer, or we got a strong hand on our back, which was when the leading icon of Urdu literature and one of the leading lights of South Asia, the one and only Intizar Hussain, told us that he liked the idea and that he would join us. Intizar Hussain had been present in all the festivals which were held till last year. He participated in the KLF and the ILF, and it was in Karachi that we had celebrated his nomination for the Man Booker International Prize, and it was in Lahore when he was presented a very high award by the French Academy. And in Karachi, Intizar Hussain had made a fascinating speech which is completely immersed on my memory. इंतज़ार साहब ने अभी 2-1 साल पहले खुतबा सदारत दिया था और उसमें कहानियों की अहमियत को उजागर किया था. मुझे याद आता है अपनी एक तहरीर में उन्होंने यही नाम दिया था, कहने वाले का भला सुनने वाले का भी भला. उन्होंने लिखा था, क़िस्सा तमाम हुआ क़िस्सा बाकी है. बात सिर्फ़ इतनी सी थी कि मुझको ज़माने के बाद जब मैंने अपनी गुमशुदा बस्ती को खोज लिया और उसकी गलियों में थोड़ा बहुत घूम फिर लिया तो दिल में कुछ कुन मुन होने लगी. फिर नोके कलम में भी कुन मुनाहट शुरू हो गई, सो मैं शुरू हो गया. फिर बात कहीं से कहीं पहुंची, शौक़ ने बात को बढ़ाया और वो बढ़ती चली गई. अपनी गलियों से होता हुआ कहाँ कहाँ निकल गया. बाज़ लोगों को अपनी ज़बान पर काबू नहीं होता, एक दफ़ा जारी हो जाएं तो मुश्किल से ही रुकते हैं. बाज़ के कलम उनके काबू में नहीं आते, मगर मैं तो उनमें से नहीं. ज़बान और कलम दोनों को कम कम बेकाबू होते हुआ है. यहाँ शौक़ शायद ज़्यादा था, फिर कलम एक दफ़ा रवां हुआ तो बस फिर रवानी पकड़ गई, मैं लिखता चला गया. इंतज़ार हुसैन ने बहुत सफ़र किए और अपने साथ पढ़ने वालों को शरीक किया और इन सफ़रों का नाम भी बता दिया। उन्होंने लिखा, कितने सफ़र मैंने अलिफ लैला के सौदागर ज़ादों और शहज़ादों के साथ किए हैं। हातम ताई ने जो सफ़र किए, मैं कितने मौक़ों पर उसके पीछे गर्द सफ़र बनकर चलता रहा। पांडव बरादरान जब अपनी जिलावतनी के दिनों में तीरथ के बहाने हिंदुस्तान की विशाल धरती पर खाक फांकते फिर रहे थे, मैंने उनके साथ भी कुछ सफ़र किए। और कथा सरित सागर में तो वो देशों और नगरियों से बढ़कर उनके सफ़र में। इंतज़ार साहब, आपने हमारी ज़िंदगियों को अपनी कहानियों से भर दिया। आप दास्तान की दुनिया से आए थे, कहानियों के देश में लौट गए। आपका भला कि आपने हमारा भला किया। हम उनको आज याद करते हैं और उनके नाम से इंतज़ार साहब आपको याद करते हैं और आप ही के नाम से कहानियों, किताबों और अदब के जश्न को एक बार फिर शुरू करते हैं कि ये सिलसिला जारी रहना चाहिए। शुक्रिया।
Thank you, Mr. Asif. I would like to thank the mediators for making this event possible. I now invite Her Excellency Martine Dorrance, the Ambassador of France, to come and say a few words.
Very good afternoon to all of you. Assalamu alaikum. Dear Ameena Saiyid, dear Mr. Asif Farrukhi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to be here once again, if I may say so, because I was also participating into this festival last year. Today, we are gathered for the opening of the 2016 Islamabad Literature Festival, and it is an honor for me to be on this stage in front of so many distinguished people and guests. This event is one of the most important cultural events in Pakistan, with its two other editions in Karachi and in Lahore. The Embassy of France supports every year these literature festivals in Karachi, in Lahore and in Islamabad by inviting renowned scholars from France who are experts in their fields, be it in literature, social science or journalism, like last year. This year, the Embassy of France is pleased to support the invitation of Christophe Jaffrelot, as it was said. He is one of the most perceptive French scholars on South Asia, including Pakistan. Christophe teaches primarily in the Paris Institute of Political Studies. We call it Sciences Po, and I know that many students from Pakistan study in this very prestigious university. And this, our invitee, our French guest, Christophe, is also associated with the Center of International Research as a senior research fellow. He is writing on Pakistan, including the latest, The Pakistan Paradox, Instability and Resilience, are highly scholarly and innovative. And in a city like Islamabad, which is home to government officials, policymakers, foreign diplomats, as well as university students, Christophe Jaffrelot's talks at this festival on Pakistani-American relations and the correlation between the Pakistan's domestic and foreign policies will be, I hope, of special interest to the festival's audience. Reading the program, I can feel the diversity of the subjects which will be addressed by the various speakers, Pakistani as well as foreign, expressing the reality or the perception of Pakistan today, or expressing the reality or the perception of the world we are living in. I would like here to warmly congratulate the organizers, especially the founders of this festival, Ameena, Saiyid, and Asif Farrukhi, for their hard work. This Islamabad Literature Festival is indeed the fruit of the hard work of our Pakistani friends and counterparts, but it also shows the vibrancy of the Pakistani society and the richness of the intellectual production and debates in this country. Before leaving the stage, I would like to echo the tribute paid to the great Intizar Hussain, who unfortunately passed away last February. As it was said just before, France recognized his works by honoring him with the Order of the Arts and Letters, which is a very important order in France, l'Ordre des Arts et des Lettres. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish a long life to all the literature festivals in Pakistan, and I assure you of France's strong support throughout. Thank you very much, and Baud Shukriya. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to request His Excellency Thomas Drew, the British High Commissioner, to come and say a few words.
Ladies and gentlemen, I should probably first start with an apology. I can't imagine that many of you turned up to a literature festival to listen to a bureaucrat. I am perhaps a newcomer to Pakistan, albeit a returning one, but I think I know Islamabad well enough to know that you can listen to bureaucrats pretty much at any event at any other day of the year, so I will keep my remarks pretty short. Before I start, though, can I also please say and add my thanks to Ameena and her team for inviting me here. The Oxford University Press is a great British institution with a long and proud history and heritage in Pakistan. Ameena has done great things with it and great things in putting on this festival, so thank you very much, Ameena. I am looking forward to a lot of things in the programme as I look at it, as much the bits which are new to me as those which are familiar. But I confess that one of the highlights will be the conversation between Hina Rabbani Khar and Anatole Even, two people for whom I have the greatest respect. Hina was one of Pakistan's most talented ministers here during my last tour in Pakistan, and Anatole's book, Pakistan, a Hard Country, is the book that our experts back in the Foreign Office recommends to anyone wanting to understand the country. I think that was before Christoph wrote his, but I won't get in there. And that frankly made me a bit suspicious. But now, more importantly, when I hear my Pakistani friends too tell me how good Anatole's book is, that gives me more confidence. And Anatole, I suppose, is right. Pakistan is, in many ways, a hard country. Personally, I remain a great optimist, and I would love to see Pakistan fulfill its huge potential, as all of us would here, and perhaps become an easier country. And one of the reasons this will happen is that this hard country has an important soft side. And for me, at least, there's no better illustration of that soft side than events like this, a celebration of literature, art, and culture more widely. And you might say that I could make comments like this at arts festival, frankly, in any country in the world. Perhaps, but to an outsider at least, literature seems to have a special place in the national psyche here. Back in the UK, we are this year celebrating 400 years since the death of William Shakespeare. But we don't have a public holiday on William Shakespeare, and we certainly have no literary figure playing such a prominent role in the national consciousness as Allama Iqbal. And of course, soft does not have to mean lacking in grit. And I'm only starting to know now the works of a generation of contemporary authors who excite and challenge about Pakistan in equal measure. And these are the people who shape attitudes. And frankly, these are the people I'm also looking forward to hearing from over the next couple of days. In that camp, and as British High Commissioner, I should also mention the many joint British and Pakistani authors, or British authors of Pakistani origin, from Tariq Ali and Mohsin Hamid to Kesra Shahraz. Kesra too will be speaking tomorrow at the festival. And they're both making a mark in both of our countries. And finally, again wearing my High Commissioner's hat, I should add that this is one of those areas of my work which is as fun as it is important. Some of you will know about the British government's education work in Pakistan. It is the biggest single element of the biggest development program we have in any country in the world. And there's no literature without literacy. But we're doing a lot more too. As Ameena said, this year alone we are reopening our British Council libraries in Lahore and Karachi with brand new modern buildings and facilities and books. And for those who can't reach them, we're also launching a British Digital Library, which will offer access to journals, books, films, discussions, as well as a poem of the day, a book of the week, and a film of the month. And of course, we're also delighted to support activities such as this weekend's. In short, we really are committed, as much as everyone else in this room, to the soft side of Anatol's hard country. I think that's probably enough now from the bureaucrats, but thank you for your attention, thank you for your support, and enjoy the festival.
Thank you. I would now like to invite Dr. Fawzia Saiyid to come and say a few words.
Welcome to all of you to Lok Virsa. I must say that it is not just a pleasure, it is an honor to host the Literature Festival here. I have been a big fan, a big admirer of this movement, and I really would like to call this festival a movement which has inspired many others to continue propagating books and encouraging readers to meet authors and have such eminent personalities as celebrities in here. It is really a pleasure, and I think the team of Lok Virsa is also very happy to have all these authors here and have this very meaningful engagement here. Lok Virsa's mandate is to propagate, promote, document, research, and preserve traditional culture. And we are very focused these days on young people, children and youth, because we feel that it is very important that take whatever they can get from the earlier generation and they develop a very deep sense of their cultural identity. I think that is where we failed a bit in the past, and that is what we want to inculcate, rejuvenate. And I think a literature festival like this and an opportunity like this for engagement for youth is an excellent opportunity. So I hope that this continues, this kind of partnership continues. You will also be very happy to know that we have signed a memorandum of understanding with Oxford University Press, and we will be collaborating in other areas because we also do research, we commission research, and we publish books. So we would like to see our common denominators, areas of convergence, and we would like to support each other as much as we can, because I think progressive forces should join hands. And it is time that the progressive should take more and more space. So hats off to the Literature Festival.
Thank you, Dr. Fawzia. I now invite Ms. Hina Rabbani Khar, former Foreign Minister, to present her keynote address.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum, and a very good afternoon to everybody on stage and off the stage. And let me, Thomas made a confession, so I'm also going to make a confession over here. since I left Islamabad, and I was very happy to leave Islamabad, Islamabad can be called many things. Alive, it certainly isn't. I find it very difficult to come back to Islamabad. There's absolutely almost no type of meeting which can get me back to Islamabad, because there's so much that you have to put on hold when you're in active service that you want to be able to catch up on all of that when you're not. The Islamabad Literary Festival was an exception to the rule. So whereas politics and many meetings could not, the Literary Festival did. And that, to me, is in some ways, in my head at least, the importance that I assign to this festival and any effort which is similar to that. This, as we all know, is the 4th literary festival. It is the first one that I'm attending. Literary festivals in Pakistan, unfortunately, are a recent phenomena. And while many people, including, of course, everybody present in this room, embrace it fully, it inculcates, obviously, diversity, openness, enthusiasm. And I've been very impressed with the enthusiasm that all the cities have shown, because I was recently in the Karachi Literary Festival, after that in the Lahore Literary Festival, and I'm always impressed with the large number of people and what the diversity of their background is who come to actually attend it. However, as is typically the case in Pakistan, you hear people talking about how it is still very elitist, how these festivals should not be in Islamabad, Karachi and Lahore, and should be in Muzaffargarh, Haripur, and Quetta. I could not agree with them more. But I think this also shows the typical tendency that we have in Pakistan to jump at sort of looking at the negativities or to analyze a good effort rather than celebrate it when it's happening and then ask for more to be done. So I feel that this opens the gateway, as Ameena very articulately put out, for many more such efforts to be made at the local level. And the Mother Language Festival that happened in Islamabad was obviously a very good example of that. So why is the literary festival important? You know, to me, if the civil administration, the government, the military, and even the businessman represent the mind of a country, literature, arts, culture represents the soul of a country. And if the mind is not functioning as well as we expect it or desire it to function, then all the more reason that we go back to the soul to guide the mind. And therefore, the ability to think through both the positivities and the negativities, which is something I think Pakistan needs to embrace fully, because in Pakistan, sometimes much too often, we define patriotism to say nothing is wrong. So if you point out the ills or the things we have done wrong, people think you're unpatriotic. And people think you're not doing justice to your country. I think quite the other way around. I think if you love your country enough, if you desire for your country a future which you think can be better than the one that it has currently, and I'm not going to lie here and say that I think my country is living its full potential. I think my country is far from living its full potential. And in this, you know, because interestingly, Iqbal has already been mentioned on this podium. And I also want to mention it because sometimes from others, you get a sense of how much more needs to be done. And, you know, it was mentioned that Iqbal Day is actually celebrated and we actually have a national holiday on it. But yet, the type of, you know, reading of Iqbal that should be inculcated within our children, he wrote story tales for children. He wrote philosophy. He wrote practically the gambit of what he wrote touches the lives of pretty much everyone. I'm going to quote you an incident which made me realize how, having given Iqbal the importance that we've given, we've probably still not done the entire justice to him. And this is a current Prime Minister, Ahmed Davutoğlu, who was my contemporary in Turkey when I was foreign minister. And as I went to see him for a bilateral meeting which was supposed to last an hour and a half, we had a tete-a-tete, a one-on-one meeting, which lasted 3.5 hours. And not a large portion of it, but certainly some part of it, as I invited him to Pakistan, he told me that he will come to Pakistan when he can find time to not only visit Islamabad, but also go to Lahore. And I said, Lahore is my hometown in some ways, but, you know, I'm not going to push you to really come there and not be able. And he said, no, it's not for you. It is because I cannot come to Pakistan without giving hazri or without being present at the mazar of my ustad. When he said those words, I felt a bit small. I felt a bit small because I felt I'm hearing this from a Turkish foreign minister. And is this as inculcated in me? And many, many countries that you visit, you find, in Italy, for instance, I was surprised that Iqbal's work was being translated. There was a whole entity, a body which was doing that. There was a person who was exceptionally committed to do that. And I will also share with you that looking at Ahmad Davutoğlu's recent visit to Pakistan from the outside, I was rather disappointed that being Prime Minister made him forget paying a visit to the Ustad. And this is what politics does to you, right? But the fact that the Turks and the Italians and anyone else, that Iqbal is so largely accepted and celebrated, makes you realize that in Pakistan, we still need to celebrate him and the contemporaries much, much more. I truly feel that even my generation has lost that opportunity, and I want to give it to my children. So I make it a point to try and read them Pakistani literature. Because far too many times they're reading, foreign fairy tales, which have little context to what is happening within their own country. So literature, art and culture feeds inspiration, it feeds hope, and it analyzes and reflects the rights and the wrongs. And that is very, very important. So as I already said, if you are able to self-analyze and self-critically analyze, to me, that is something which will help you grow and prosper and be able to get rid of the wrongs and concentrate on the rights. And as I said, the best way to show your love and patriotism is not to not point out the wrongs, but it is to point out the wrongs and to find ways to correct them. So, patriotism, I believe, therefore, dies at the altar of excuses for the wrongs. And this is something I want to say clearly, because I think this is something that literature and culture and art and propagation of it will enable Pakistan to do. Because the mainstream, in the media, in the civil service, within the military also, the mainstream generally believes that self-analysis, critical analysis, is unpatriotic. And that is a trend I believe is changing in Pakistan, and I believe we all have to play our part, especially those ones who are not in active office now. And I'll tell you two things on that. The first step to solving a problem has to be identifying a problem. So if you're acting like an ostrich, you cannot solve a problem unless you have identified it. Secondly, it is important to learn our lessons from history and not to forget them, because if we are going to shoo away our history, we will not be able to repeat the successes and defend ourselves against the failures. So, for us, for instance, reading regular textbooks, it's amazing when you grow up and you read other books that you realize that how you have defined your history to be not, looking at all angles and to be unifocused from the point of view of the state, right? How many times have we read in our history books what happened in 1971? How many of our children, actually, I'm talking about children of my generation, would even know what happened in 1971? And what were the repercussions and what led to 1971? So just by shooing it away, we cannot hide the hard facts. Afghan jihad is another great example of that. We like to put it in a certain way, and you visit Afghanistan and you realize the Afghans feel very different about the role that Pakistan played in Afghan jihad. We like to tell ourselves a very different story. I'm not saying either is correct. All I'm saying, awareness of these two is very, very important. So now, the second thing, I'm going to talk about just two more things broadly, right? And the second thing I want to talk about is, where is Pakistan right now? Very quickly. Recently, just last week, an Economist article says the following. It's called The Hard Choice of Pakistan, so it looks like the word hard is very difficult to get away from. And it says that Pakistan is engaged in a belated, and these are the important words, in a belated struggle against religious extremism that will determine what sort of a country it becomes. I'm quoting it because I think this particular line has a recognition of the fact that it is belated, but it also has optimism for how Pakistan is in a struggle to redefine itself. And I, being an optimist, would like to believe that having started the journey on that road, we will end this journey on a happy note. So, as I say this, it is important to still analyze what led us to where we are. As I said, lessons from history are important because we do not want to be repeating the mistakes that we made in the past. Because at the time of decision making, and I've been at the helm of policy making, you're looking at facts as they appear. And then 20 years back, you realize, gosh, you'd sown the seeds of discontent and terrorism and maybe whatever not. And I'm talking here about the role that Pakistan possibly played in the Afghan jihad. So we know that in this country, pre-9/11, there was only one suicide bomb attack, even if that. You know, it was post-9/11 or just in that era. And we all know the numbers as to what has been the propensity of bomb attacks, suicide bomb attacks in Pakistan after that. So are we the only ones responsible for what happened in Pakistan? Absolutely not. But can we shun away the responsibility that Pakistan, as Pakistanis, we have to take for the wrong policies that we pursued in the past? Absolutely not to that also. So a balancing act between realizing what happened at the higher level or at the regional and international level, but it was eventually always a Pakistani mind and a Pakistani hand which made those decisions. So if we're unhappy with what Zia did at the behest of the Americans, we should be unhappy with the Americans, but we should be unhappier with Zia as the Pakistani who allowed Pakistan's future to be played with. So my point of saying all of this is that we cannot shun away because typically for many, many years, and Thomas, you're sitting here, but you know, for many years we've told ourselves it was the colonial legacy, right? It was what they did to us, to united India and then to Pakistan. And then for maybe 2 to 3 decades after that, now it's the Americans. It might be all of them together, and it might be the Indians and the Afghans and everyone together, but it is eventually the Pakistanis also. So we have to take responsibility for what is in our hands and let others play their games and fight them, not by trying to be over smart and playing their games better, but fight them by protecting our national interest to what appears to be, you know, at that particular time at least the best way to do it. So if you ask me why are we where we are, what is the one, because there might be, and there are of course a plethora of reasons, there's no dearth of reasons, and if we sit in this room, even if two of us sit in a room, we will not be able to agree what the reasons are. But to me, if there's one singular reason which has done, you know, which has put us where we are, and as I already said, and I'm going to say more of this, I believe now we are on the right trajectory. But the maybe 2 decades of lost opportunities following the Afghan jihad. Why are we where we are, or why were we where we were? The one singular reason I would say is that because we chose to fight other people's wars for what we considered to be strategic gains to get us a seat on the table and feel important in international relations and regional politics. Having been the foreign minister of that for Pakistan, let me assure you, I would much rather have represented, and I was very proud every moment I represented Pakistan, and I continue to be proud Pakistani citizen today. But having a seat on the table is not what a country aspires. A country's foreign policy has to deliver to the average common citizen of Pakistan. And how can a country's foreign policy, you might ask, deliver to the average Pakistani citizen sitting in Muzaffargarh or Badin or Balochistan or Pakhtunkhwa? By being able to engineer relations with your neighbors which are friendly so that commerce, enterprise, trade can be developed, so that the roads of their opportunities can be opened. And then as we go forward, because the most important relations to garner are the ones which are with the immediate neighbors, and unfortunately in Pakistan we have always done typically the other way around. You know, we felt our relations with the US have been the most important. After that, our relations with the European Union. After that, perhaps, of course, China is always there as the only exception of a neighbor that we have actually developed good relations with. And then we think, India and Afghanistan, we will manage through Washington, DC and London. They will take care of that for us. It doesn't happen like that. And guess what? We found out in 1960 at least, ever since 1960s, we knew it was not going to happen like that. Kashmir is not going to be delivered to us via Washington, DC. We knew that. We were told this categorically. So if you deny history, and if you keep on imagining people will, you know, suddenly come around because now you will make a better argument, not having said that, one thing that always amazed me representing Pakistan was that as a country which has suffered the highest losses in terms of deaths, in terms of lost opportunities, in terms of economic loss, in terms of literally a whole decade being lost, our normal growth trajectory was upheavaled. Much as we tried, we could not go back to it. And even now, we are not living to our full potential at all. Despite that, we were wonderfully scapegoated all over the world for what was happening in Afghanistan. And I don't think we deserve the entire blame at all, not this time around for sure. So this is how international politics works. We had some blame, but that blame had to be shared with many, many of our friends. And why do I believe today we are on the right trajectory? I'm just going to give you 3 reasons or 3 areas which gives me confidence, which gives me optimism. I am an indefatigable optimist, and I refuse to look at a glass half full. But I also like to believe that you have to correct the course. And if you do not identify the problems, you cannot correct the course. So what gives me confidence today? Not so long ago, when I entered politics, and many, many years till after that, I remember there was no dearth of the apologists for people who used violence against Pakistani and other nationals. People like, mainstream people like Imran Khan, the current interior minister, what I would call Taliban apologists. There were wonderful reasoning given why they have become what they've become, the TTP has become because we did it, the state did it to them. Well, right now, I think since the coming of the democratic regimes, you see that the space of the apologists has contracted substantially. And the space in the mainstream for people to identify these as inimical to Pakistan's very interest, to Pakistan's very Pakistan's being has increased. That gives me confidence because it tells me that we're on the right trajectory, that we're calling a spade, and we're not looking for apologies and answers and excuses to defend a wrong. We are calling a wrong, and we are on our way to start correcting the wrong. Then, a big problem, and again, I would like to quote an incident over here. I was once, I was a member of the World Economic Forum as a young global leader and went to many, many Davos meetings. And in one of them, we looked at a report which said that possible failed states, 5 were named, okay? And Pakistan was named as one of them. I got shocked at it. This was a time that Pakistan was doing very well economically. We believed we were on the right track. And this is, maybe 2004 to 6. And we felt everything was going right, and Pakistan was, getting into the international bond market, etc., etc. Everything seemed to be working right. And when we asked the people who had put that report together as to why Pakistan's name, and the other countries were obviously, countries that you would typically think are reasonably, going in that direction, and therefore it's fine to see their name in it. When you asked them, there was only one factor which got Pakistan in that list. At that time, when this was not a real living danger as it has become today. And that one factor was that Pakistan as a country did not have control over all its sovereign territory. I will be honest with you, at that time, I could not appreciate the magnanimity of that one single factor. Having lived through this last decade, I think we don't have a choice but to appreciate the magnanimity and the repercussions of that one single factor. So what does it tell you? The writ of the state and control of the state over what it calls its territory. We had lost it, let's make no bones about it, that was a fact. But we are regaining it. Through the operation that we did during the Pakistan People's Party time, and through the operation that the Pakistan People's Party supported now, and this government is doing with Zarb-e-Azab, and of course the military making enormous sacrifices, people dying on a daily basis. And this is, again, something I used to always try and tell my friends, my counterparts in various countries, that we are in active war. Our people are dying on a daily basis, and you tell us that we are the ones who are responsible for deaths across the border? So, we are now taking our territory back, and we are ensuring that the writ of the state in every last inch of Pakistan is there, and that will put us back, inshallah. And lastly, I think the state has, this obviously started with the Malakand operation, then Zarb-e-Azab, then the cities such as Karachi, and now finally southern Punjab, which was becoming quite scary in terms of the number of organizations which were able to work at will. And lastly, as I said, what gives me optimism is that the state is regaining its monopoly on the use of violence. You know, another High Commissioner once told me, many, many years back, that she was amazed. It was, again, a woman who typically women think deep. So she said that she was amazed that she was here during the time that the operation was going on in Lal Masjid. And she said that she was amazed to see how many Pakistanis thought it was okay for people to be coming out with sticks and guns and felt their country did not owe it, or the state did not need to respond because they also had a right. So she said that, you know, in our country this would be unacceptable. Anyone who takes up a gun against the state sitting in this capital will be unacceptable, and nobody will be there trying to justify why they are doing what they're doing. So the state's monopoly over the use of violence is being regained, and that is something that gives me optimism. I'm just going to quickly talk about recent events, one or two recent events which both give you confidence and sometimes pull you back, right? 3 recent events which probably define the direction and the challenges within that direction. Execution of Mumtaz Qadri, the state taking back its control. If you play with the state's monopoly over violence, no matter how much following you might be able to garner, the state will do what the state is supposed to do. So optimism. Now pessimism. 10,000 people taking Islamabad hostage because of that. And they are not a minority. They might be a minority. I like to believe they're a minority, but it's a very large minority which believes that what he did was right. And this is what scares us about Pakistan, right? And these are the seeds that we've sown. So my analysis is very simple. The seeds that we sowed during Zia's era and the 20 years, you know, so 20 or so years we are reaping now. But the seeds that we're sowing today, hopefully, are going to be happy seeds, and those we're going to reap in 20 years. And as I said, I truly believe the trajectory is correcting itself. Then, of course, the APS and the Lahore bombing together. APS was a big wake-up call. I think Malala's attack on Malala left still many people undecided as to what really, you know, whether it was, again, an American conspiracy, this, that, the other. But APS woke this nation. Again, a great positive. Lahore bombing reminded us that statements to the tune of 2016 being the last year of terrorism in this country were ill-advised. That this country will have a long battle because, as I said, the seeds had been sown. So both optimism and pessimism. And then, of course, I don't think I can ignore Panama Leaks and what it says for this country and what it does for this country. And I hope that this one episode, because it will not be able to be laid to rest because it's an international significance, it has international significance, will bring back, and I understand that this may not be illegal at all, but I also understand that the moral issues that it raises are probably very difficult to be able to address by shoving them under the carpet. Because and I will not make it more political than that, but just to say that I hope this will engage us in a conversation to demand and expect a certain level of transparency from the people who are running this country on our behalf, on our votes. And I would hope that we will understand that running the economy of this country, which affects the ordinary people and the people who are investors, etc., requires for you to have your ear on the ground. Lastly, I think I have said enough on the foreign policy front while talking about the previous 2 eras, and I'm just going to end by saying that, you know, I truly believe that we have allowed Pakistan not to live its true potential. And this is something, and many people ask, so I'm going to answer that question. What did you do when you were foreign minister? Because if you think the region is so important, and I will tell you just one thing that we did. Okay, 2 maybe. What we did was normalize trade with India, or start on the road to do that, and we converted the positive list into the negative list, and that gave them an MFN status, which was obviously not implemented. And then we renegotiated the APTA, the Afghanistan-Pakistan Transit Trade Agreement with Afghanistan. Now, both these were led by the strong belief that Pakistan cannot truly live its full potential and enjoy or be able to reap the benefit of what we've been reading since we were born, the strategic location of Pakistan. Now, let me ask you this question. What is the advantageous point of the strategic location of Pakistan? You know, we're surrounded by these countries which we like to consider, at least three of them, somewhat hostile, ranging from very hostile to somewhat hostile, and with the exception of China, the fourth one. And we consider, so how can this location be advantageous? This location cannot be advantageous to Pakistan's goals and objectives and to the common man, common citizen of Pakistan, until and unless we let Pakistan become the hub, which is the true strategic advantage of Pakistan. Until and unless we let trade happen, not only north-south, which CPEC is addressing very, very well, and I'm very happy it is, but also east-west. If we believe, as Pakistanis, that north-south trade is good, we cannot fool ourselves and believe that east-west trade through Pakistani corridors, oil pipelines, gas pipelines, road networks, train networks, etc., cannot be good for Pakistan. Until and unless we are able to realize that potential, we will never be able to see the advantages of this strategic location. And I just want to end by saying that whenever we are at places of opportunity, and when you're at the helm of affairs at any level, when you're doing, we learn one thing, that opportunities come and go. I believe Pakistan today has opportunities to normalize relations with both its important neighbors. I believe we just lost one opportunity by not treating the Iranian president's visit with the due courtesy that it required. And I'm going to say that's very openly because I think Iran is an exceptionally important country for Pakistan. And I believe by painting that only on with the broad brush of advanced Iranian soil being used against Pakistan, I think we did a disservice to the full potential of that particular visit. Now, coming to Afghanistan and India, the opportunity is there. Ashraf Ghani gave us a great opportunity. With India, after Pathankot, I think the opportunity still remains. We cannot let events like one raw agent and Pathankot draw us away from the course that we have chosen for ourselves. That is extremely important. If we do that, we will be engaging in reactive foreign policy, not active foreign policy or proactive foreign policy. So these windows of opportunity are there. Guess what? As before, these windows of opportunity will not remain forever. Windows do shut. And then you have to start from ground zero. So with that, let me just thank you for your attention, and I do think I took more than my assigned time.
Thank you, ma'am. Masood Ashar Saab will now come to present his keynote address.
Your Excellencies, Mohtarama Hina Rabbani Khar Sahiba, Mohtarama Ameena Saiyid Sahiba, और डॉक्टर आसिफ फर्रुखी, अभी हमारी साबिक वज़ीर ख़ारजा फ़ॉरेन रिलेशंस और फ़ॉरेन पॉलिसी के बारे में बात कर रही थी। मैं पाकिस्तान के अंदर, सोसाइटी के अंदर जो हमारी आपस में एक दूसरे के रिलेशंस है, उनके बारे में मैं कुछ लिख के लाया हूँ, वो आपके सामने पढ़ूँगा। ये 2 साल पहले की बात है। यही इस्लामाबाद था और यही ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी प्रेस का लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल। आखिरी सेशन में जब मशहूर व मारूफ अदीबों ने अपने इख्तितामी खुतबे ख़त्म किए तो मेरे साथ बैठी एक खातून ने नहायत ही अफसुर्दा लहजे में मुझसे सवाल किया, ये आप मायूसियाँ क्यों फैलाते हैं, ये बददिलियाँ क्यों पैदा करते हैं आप अपने सुनने और पढ़ने वालों में। मैं 3 दिन से इस सेशन में के हर इजलास में शिरकत कर रही हूँ, सिवाय रोने धोने के मुझे तो और कुछ सुनने को नहीं मिला। वो साहिबा हैं तो पाकिस्तानी, मगर एक अरसे से अमेरिका में रह रही हैं। उस वक्त तो मैंने उनसे वही कहा जो सवालों की शक्ल में मुझसे कह रही थी, लेकिन आज जब मैं यहाँ आपके सामने खड़ा हूँ तो सोच रहा हूँ कि हाँ, मुझे पाकिस्तान का और अपना रोशन चेहरा भी तलाश करना चाहिए। ये जो अदब के जश्न होते हैं, انہیں روشن چہرہ ہی نہیں کہا جائے گا تو اور کیا کہا جائے گا. یہ لٹریچر فیسٹیول صرف ایک ہی شہر میں نہیں ہوتے. آکسفورڈ لٹریچر فیسٹیول ہر سال کراچی میں ہوتا ہے, اسلام آباد میں ہوتا ہے, اور اب تو رضی احمد نے لاہور میں لاہور لٹریچر فیسٹیول بھی شروع کر دیا ہے. لاہور میں ہی عائشہ صدیقہ خیال کے نام سے ایسے ہی جشن مناتی ہیں. پھر فیض فاؤنڈیشن بھی 2-3 دن کا ادبی اور ثقافتی میلہ لگاتی ہیں, اور کراچی میں اپنے احمد شاہ تو ان جشنوں اور میلوں سے پہلے ہی سالانہ ادبی اور ثقافتی کانفرنس سے منعقد کرتے چلے آ رہے ہیں. لاہور میں اپنے عطاء اللہ قاسمی نے الحمرہ کی طرف سے بھی اس قسم کی کانفرنس کی بنیاد ڈالی ہے. نیشنل بک فاؤنڈیشن بھی ہر سال یوم کتاب مناتی ہے. یہ جشن اور میلے جیسے ابھی کہا گیا پھیلتے پھیلتے اب دوسرے شہروں تک پھیل گئے ہیں. ان شہروں کی یونیورسٹیاں بھی یہ کام کر رہی ہیں. ان جشنوں, میلوں اور کانفرنسوں میں دنیا بھر کے ادیب, فنکار, سیاسی اور سماجی علوم کے ماہر اور سائنسداں شریک ہوتے ہیں, اور کسی جھجک اور خوف و خطر کے بغیر ہر موضوع پر ڈٹ کے بات چیت کرتے ہیں. اور پھر ہمارا ادب بھی تو دنیا کے دوسرے خطوں تک پہنچ گیا ہے. انتظار حسین بکر انٹرنیشنل پرائز کے لیے نامزد ہوتے ہیں. انہیں فرانس کا بہت بڑا ایوارڈ ملتا ہے. ہمارے اردو کے کئی ادیبوں کے ناول اور افسانے انگریزی اور دوسری زبانوں میں ترجمہ ہو چکے ہیں. کسی زمانے میں صرف ہمارے احمد علی ہی انگریزی میں ناول لکھا کرتے تھے, لیکن آج ذرا آپ حساب لگائیے ہمارے ملک کے کتنے نام ہیں جو انگریزی میں لکھ رہے ہیں. ان کی تعداد اب 1 درجن سے بھی زیادہ ہو چکی ہے. اور پھر دور کیوں جائیے, ڈاکٹر عبدالسلام کے بعد ہماری ملالہ نے نوبیل انعام حاصل کر لیا. شرمین عبید دوسری بار اپنی فلم پر آسکر جیت رہی ہیں. ہماری لڑکیاں کرکٹ میں بڑی بڑی ٹیموں کو ہرا رہی ہیں. کیا یہ ہمارا روشن چہرہ نہیں ہے؟ لیکن, اور یہ بہت بڑا لیکن ہے, ابھی میں یہاں تک یہ لکھ پایا تھا, کسی نے میرے کان میں کہا ٹھہرو, تم بھول رہے ہو کہ جن لوگوں کے کارنامے تم گنا رہے ہو وہ تمہارے معاشرے اور تمہاری سوسائٹی کا بہت ہی چھوٹا حصہ ہیں. چھوٹا سا اور بہت ہی بے اثر حصہ. تمہیں آسمان کو چھوتی وہ دیوار نظر نہیں آ رہی ہے جس میں تمہارے ملک اور تمہارے معاشرے کو 2 حصوں میں تقسیم کر دیا ہے. یہ شارپ ڈویژن ہے, اور یہ تقسیم بہت ہی گہری اور بہت ہی تیکھی ہے. اس دیوار کے ایک طرف وہ طبقہ ہے جسے ہم ترقی پسند اور روشن خیال اور لبرل کہتے ہیں. دوسری طرف وہ طبقہ ہے جسے ہم اپنی سہولت کے لیے ماضی پرست یا رجت پسند کہتے ہیں, اور دنیا ہمیں اسی حوالے سے جانتی ہے. اب اگر میں یہ کہوں تو یقیناً آپ مجھ سے ناراض ہو جائیں گے کہ کٹر پسندی دونوں طرف ہے. روشن خیال ہو یا تاریخی پسند, دونوں کے اپنے اپنے ڈاگماز ہیں. دیوار کی دوسری طرف والوں سے تو یہ توقع نہیں کی جا سکتی کہ وہ نرمی یا رواداری کا ثبوت دیں گے کہ ان کا یہ کاروبار ہے. انہوں نے مذہب کو کاروبار بنا لیا ہے. اگر وہ ایسا نہیں کریں گے تو کھائیں گے کہاں سے؟ اسی لیے تو مدرسے اپنے ہاتھ سے نہیں جانے دیتے. یہ جو پراڈو جیسی گاڑیاں ان کے پاس آئی ہیں, اور یہ جو ہوائی جہاز کے بغیر ان کا سفر نہیں ہوتا, اس کی وجہ یہی مدرسے تو ہیں. وہ اسے کیوں چھوڑیں گے؟ آخر وہ آپ سے بات کیوں کریں گے؟ اچھا, اب یہاں اپنے روشن خیال اور لبرل دوستوں کے بارے میں بات کرنے سے پہلے میں ایک نہایت ہی خطرناک میدان میں قدم رکھنے کی جسارت کر رہا ہوں. یہ ہے صوفیوں صافیوں کا میدان. ہم مذہبی شدت پسندی کا مقابلہ کرنے کے لیے صوفی صافی حضرات کا سہارا لیتے ہیں. ہم صوفیانہ کلام کی محفلیں سجاتے ہیں. ہم درویشوں کے صوفیانہ رقص کا اہتمام کرتے ہیں اور خوش ہوتے ہیں کہ ہم نے کٹر پسندی اور شدت پسندی کا مقابلہ کر لیا. ہم کہتے ہیں کہ یہ ہماری صوفیانہ روایات ہی ہیں جنہوں نے رواداری کو فروغ دیا ہے, اور خوش ہوتے ہیں کہ ہم نے کٹر پسندی کا مقابلہ کر لیا. ہم بھکتی تحریک کا ذکر کرتے نہیں تھکتے. یہ ہماری تہذیب اور ہماری ثقافت کا حصہ رہی ہے. آپ بالکل صحیح کہتے ہیں, بجا. یہ ہماری اسی تہذیب اور اسی ثقافت کا حصہ ہے جس میں میاں محمد ہمیں سمجھاتے ہیں, دشمن مرے تو خوشی نہ کریے, سجنا بھی مر جانا. لیکن یہ بہت پرانی بات ہو گئی ہے. اب صوفی اور پیر و فقیر اور ہمارے قدیم وہ لوگ جو ہیں وہ اب ہمارے قدیم زمانے کے نہیں رہے. اب وہ کاروبار کرتے ہیں. عرسوں کا کاروبار تو پہلے بھی ہوتا تھا, مگر اب وہ اقتدار چاہتے ہیں. آپ نے دیکھ لیا نا, ایک قاتل کی سزا پر کن لوگوں کے سر پر بھوت سوار ہوا اور کن لوگوں کی آنکھوں میں خون اترا. کون ہیں یہ لوگ جنہوں نے اسلام آباد پر دھاوا بولا؟ کون ہیں یہ لوگ جن سے ہماری حکومت اور ہماری عدالتیں بھی ڈرتی ہیں؟ وہ دن ہوا ہوئے جب پسینہ گلاب تھا. اب ہر چیز کاروبار ہے. اب درگاہیں, بازار, عرس سب روزی روٹی کا ذریعہ ہے. ہر بات سیاست ہے، اقتدار تک پہنچنے کا راستہ۔ اب انہوں نے صوفیانہ کلام صرف آپ کے لیے چھوڑ دیا ہے۔ چلیے اب آ جائیے اپنے روشن خیال دوستوں کی طرف۔ میں نے عرض کیا نا کہ اب روشن خیالی بھی ایک ڈوگما بن گئی ہے، ہم نے بھی اپنے گرد خول بنا لیا ہے۔ اس خول سے باہر نکلنا ہم اپنی روشن خیالی کے خلاف سمجھتے ہیں۔ اگر دوسری طرف فولادی سختی ہے تو ہماری طرف بھی کچھ کم سختی نہیں ہے۔ معاف کیجیے، جسے وسیع المشربی کہا جاتا ہے، وہ نام کو تو ہمارے ہاں ہے مگر حقیقت میں نہیں ہے۔ ہم بھی دوسرے کی بات سننے کے روادار نہیں ہیں، ہم بھی جلدی میں غصے میں آ جاتے ہیں، ہمارا پارا بھی جلد چڑھ جاتا ہے۔ اس رواداری پر مجھے ڈاکٹر جعفر احمد یاد آ گئے۔ انہوں نے آج سے 2-3 دہائی پہلے کی بات یاد دلائی ہے، اس وقت کی جب مولانا مودودی اور جوش ملیح آبادی ہم کلام ہو سکتے تھے، بابا ذہین تاجی اور فیض احمد فیض ہم نشینی سے لطف اندوز ہو سکتے تھے، اور ذہین تاجی فیض سے کہہ سکتے تھے کہ بھائی آپ سے مل کر مزہ نہیں آیا، ہم تو ایک کافر سے ملنا چاہتے تھے، آپ میں سے تو پھر تھوڑا سا مسلمان نکل آیا۔ یہ تھی رواداری۔ اب مجھے ملتان یاد آ گیا، یہ بھی 40-50 سال پہلے کی بات ہے۔ میں ملتان میں امروز کا اخبار کا ایڈیٹر تھا۔ آپ جانتے ہی ہیں کہ میاں افتخار الدین کے اخبار امروز اور پاکستان ٹائمز ترقی پسند اور لبرل اخبار تھے۔ اگرچہ ان پر ایوب خان کی حکومت نے قبضہ کر لیا تھا، مگر ہماری تو تربیت ہی ترقی پسندی کے ماحول میں ہوئی تھی، اس لیے ہمارا اخبار ابھی تک لبرل ہی تھا۔ ایک بار امروز میں کوئی ایسی خبر چھپ گئی جو جماعت اسلامی کو ناگوار گزری۔ انہوں نے امروز پر مقدمہ کر دیا۔ اب مقدمے کی تاریخ آتی تو میں عدالت جاتا اور وہاں جماعت کے لیڈروں سے ملاقات ہوتی۔ یہ ملاقات دشمنوں کی نہیں، دوستوں کی ہوتی تھی۔ وہاں ایسا معلوم ہوتا تھا کہ بھاڑ میں جائے مقدمہ، ہم تو دوست ہیں۔ ہم آپس میں گلے ملتے، خوب گپ شپ ہوتی اور مقدمہ چلتا رہتا۔ اسی گپ شپ میں رواداری کا ایک اور نمونہ میرے سامنے آ گیا۔ ان دونوں ایوب خان نے فیملی لاز یا آئلی قوانین نافذ کیے تھے اور دوسری بیوی کرنے سے پہلے پہلی بیوی کی اجازت ضروری بنا دی تھی۔ ایک دن عدالت کے باہر ہم کھڑے اس قانون پر بات کر رہے تھے تو ملتان میں جماعت کے امیر جن کا نام میں بھول گیا ہوں، انہوں نے مجھے حیران، بلکہ یوں کہیے کہ خوشگوار حیران کر دیا۔ انہوں نے بتایا کہ 2 بیویاں رکھنا تو اس علاقے کی عام روایت رہی ہے، اور یہ دونوں بیویاں ایک دوسرے کی سوکن نہیں بلکہ سہیلی ہوتی تھی۔ ہر بیوی کے لیے ایک ہفتہ مقرر ہوتا تھا۔ ایک بیوی کی باری ختم ہوتی تو وہ خود ہی اپنے میاں کا بستر سجا کر دوسری بیوی کے کمرے میں ڈال آتی۔ اللہ اللہ، کیا رواداری تھی، کیا خیر سگالی تھی، کون نہیں چاہے گا ایسی رواداری تھی۔ اور ہاں، ملتان کے ذکر پر مجھے مونجھ آ گئی۔ اب آپ پوچھیں گے یہ مونجھ کیا ہوتی ہے؟ تو صاحب، ہوم سک ہونے کو سرائی میں مونجھ کہا جاتا ہے، مونجھ آنا۔ وہ یہ نہیں کہتے کہ گھر یاد آ رہا ہے، وہ کہتے ہیں مونجھ آ رہی ہے۔ ذرا دیکھیے کیا جامع و معنی لفظ ہے، مجھے اردو میں اس کا متبادل نظر نہیں آتا۔ یہاں آصف فرخی اور شاید دوسرے ہمارے ادیب بیٹھے ہیں، شاید انہیں اردو کا متبادل معلوم ہو، مجھے تو معلوم نہیں۔ تو کیا میں کہہ سکتا ہوں کہ مجھے پرانے زمانے کی مونجھ آ رہی ہے؟ خیر، میں رواداری کا ذکر کر رہا تھا، کھلے دل و دماغ اور وسیع المشرب ہونے کا ذکر کر رہا تھا، اور وہ بھی دیوار کے دوسری طرف نہیں بلکہ اپنے طرف کے کھلے دل و دماغ کا۔ اب بلکہ سوالوں کا سوال یہ ہے کہ جس رواداری، فراخ دلی اور جس وسیع المشربی کا ہم ڈھڈورا پیٹتے ہیں، کیا وہ ہمارے کسی بھی طبقے میں پائی جاتی ہے؟ کیا ہم سب اپنے اپنے تعصب کے خول میں بند نہیں ہیں؟ اب تو ایسا لگتا ہے جیسے آسمان کو چھوتی یہ دیوار چاٹنے کے لیے ہمیں یاجوج ماجوج کا انتظار کرنا پڑے گا، مگر جان لیجئے کہ یاجوج ماجوج آئیں گے تو قیامت بھی آ جائے گی۔ معاف کیجئے، میں اپنا روشن اور ہنستا کھلکھلاتا چہرہ دکھانے چلا تھا، مگر اسی اندھے گڑھے میں گر گیا جسے نکالنے کے لیے میں نے یہ سارا کھڑا کیا ہے۔ میں معافی چاہتا ہوں۔ شکریہ۔
Thank you, Masood Asir Saab. This brings us to the end of the inaugural ceremony for the 4th Islamabad Literature Festival 2016. I would like to thank Ameena, Saiyid, Asif, Farrukhi Sahab, our guests, Her Excellency Martin Dorrance, and His Excellency Thomas Drew, Dr. Fawzia Saiyid, Ms. Hina Rabbani Khar, and Masood Asir Saab. Thank you so much. Thank you. The first session here is Rukja Hajume Gul, where Saif Mahmood will be in conversation with Zehra Nigah, and the sessions in the other halls will be starting simultaneously at 6:15 p.m. All right, thank you so much.
Excuse me, everybody. We are going to have a short folk performance, musical performance, where our child stars will perform, sing a few songs. So those of you who are staying here can enjoy it. Those of you who are going to other halls can perhaps wait for 10 minutes and then go to your halls. I would like to ask Yasir Noman to start the performance. This is kind of new discovery from Lok Virsa. Children that we have gathered, our talent hunt has resulted. We will start with a Pakhtun singer. His name is Zaman. Zaman is going to sing a Pashto song, and you will sing how we are trying to nurture young talent. stay in Punjab and we'll go to Qurban brothers. We are Ashar, Subhan and Muzammil Niazi. And they will sing 2 songs. Aajo ji. Punjabi.
खड़ियां ने गुलजारा ओ बचपन गया जवानी आई खड़ियां ने गुलजारा ओ गल्ला चूहे रंग बटाए टैकने जबारा ओ गल्ला चूहे रंग बटाए टैकने जबारा ओ पिंग मई दिए झूठन आईया मस्त अलड़ मुटियारा ओ पिंग मई दिए झूठन आईया मस्त अलड़ मुटियारा ओ वारो वारी पिंग चुटे मन कर कर नाज नजारा ओ वारो वारी पिंग चुटे मन कर कर नाज नजारा ओ जदों आई ततड़ी दी वारी होए ते टूट गई तड़क 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 करके लाई बेकतरा नल यारी ते टूट गई तड़क करके ओ बल्ले बल्ले वे टूट गई तड़क करके चेतन चित्ते अचानक माही वेड़े आन खलोया ओ चेतन चित्ते अचानक माही वेड़े आन खलोया मैं चुन चुन फुल्लू मीदा वाला सोना हार परोया मैं चुन चुन फुल्लू मीदा वाला सोना हार परोया मैं चाई चाई चुक हार नू नाल गले ते छोया मैं चाई चाई चुक हार नू नाल गले ते छोया ओ बैड़ी निकली डोर नगारी होए ते टूट गई तड़क 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 करके लाई बेकतरा नल यारी ते टूट गई तड़क करके ओ बल्ले बल्ले बे टूट गई तड़क करके ओए 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 मस्त जवानी होश च आवन लगी और जागे पग माई कर आया शगन मनावन लगी ओ जागे पग माई कर आया शगन मनावन लगी ओ पर के बैग दिता दिल भर नू खुशी मनावन लगी ओ पर के बैग दिता दिल भर नू खुशी मनावन लगी मुल्ला नाल लगी जद प्याली होए ते टूट गई तड़क 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 करके लाई बेकतरा नल यारी ते टूट गई तड़क करी ओ बल्ले बल्ले वे टूट गई तड़क करके बल्ले वे टूट गई तड़क करके ओ बल्ले बल्ले वे टूट गई तड़क करके बल्ले बल्ले ओ बल्ले बल्ले वे टूट गई तड़क करके ओ बल्ले बल्ले
बहुत शुक्रिया। अब लोक विरसा में लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल हो रहा है तो थोड़ा लोक विरसा का रंग तो रहना चाहिए ना। तो हम ये कोशिश करेंगे कि यहाँ वहाँ हम अपना रंग डाल के रखें। और संडे को सूफ़ी नाइट हम लोग कर रहे हैं, वो ज़रूर अटेंड कीजिएगा। बहुत अच्छी तरीके से हम प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं।